All right, what up, guys? It's Steven here from Cymatics, and today we are doing our first ever episode with a guest. Kato is in the house. What up?
What up, internets?
I'm pretty excited. I told you guys I was getting guests, and I nabbed this guy who actually I bumped into recently because he was killing it on Instagram. What, you had close to 100,000 followers?
Almost, yeah, right under 100,000.
And we did that collab giveaway and all skyrocketed.
Pushed it over the edge.
Pushed it over the edge. And I mean, one of the cool parts was I looked and I'm like, oh, this dude's from Atlanta. And then also found out Beats by Jay Black was from Atlanta too.
Yeah. I didn't even know that until we started like DMing after that giveaway, and he was like, yo, I'm in Atlanta. And
I realized a lot of people come here too. Like a lot of people roll through Atlanta.
Yeah.
So yeah, guys, I decided I want to get him on the show because honestly, for the past couple of years, Cymatics has been super deep in the EDM space. Right. Obviously, you guys have seen us pushing more and more hip hop stuff, but this is a guy who's actually making a killing, actually selling beats. He has an audience where he talks a lot about, how producers can actually make money selling beats and stuff. So I figured this will be a great time to bring him in, give some insights from that world because it is a little different from the EDM world, I would say.
Yeah.
Almost completely different breeds of producers.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out like what the EDM guys are doing, because I think that's really interesting. So it's just funny how like we're all just trying to figure out what each other are doing.
Yeah, it's almost like they're the same thing, but they're like speaking completely different languages.
Yeah, it's a different world for sure.
I'll tell you what the EDM guys are doing. They're sitting there tweaking knobs and serum.
That's what I want. Not like I would love to just start DJing in front of people, just like turning knobs in front of like festivals and shit.
Yeah, it's funny because like the hip hop guys are like out there hustling, trying to make some money, like passing out CDs still. Like when I went to fucking some random cities, I'll still see shit like that. Yeah. EDM guys ain't coming out of their bedroom. They're literally tweaking sounds.
Unless it's Vegas, or like we just came back from Vegas, right, on the MEC tour, and just like driving down the strip, you just see all the billboards with like
Dylan Francis,
EDM
Diplo,
producers. Yeah. It's like, what the fuck? Like I saw one hip hop producer that was London on the Track. He had like a residency somewhere, but everyone else was like pop or EDM.
I mean, you know what's funny is that so they do perfect in like a Las Vegas pool party environment, which is really what those DJs are doing.
Yeah.
Like, have you been to some of those like clubs and shit in Vegas?
I know, like I understand the vibe. Like they attract the party crowd.
Dude, it's a straight party. I went to go see a show, like, cause I was like, oh, I'm in Vegas. I'm gonna go check out like a house show. Yeah. And I go there and it was something straight out of a movie, like pool party. I was like, this is not a show. This is a party, bro. You know what I'm saying?
That's what they're there for. They're good at that.
But yeah, I definitely think it fits that. But like, dude, so one of the biggest mistakes, so I think that EDM producers have is, and that hip hop producers are killing it on. Hip hop producers, in a way, love to kind of, I don't know, necessarily want to say flex, but like they like to get on the Instagram, right? Post content, do that kind of stuff. I mean, even
EDM
if you look
producers don't do that.
No, they're terrified. They don't even show their face, man. Why? I guarantee you, a lot of people watching a live stream, a lot of people watching now, you know who you are. They don't.
Why do you guys not do that? I don't understand.
Because honestly, there's a big thing in the early EDM phase where a lot of people, it was just about the music and all the pictures and stuff. There was like this mysterious element, and it was cool to be this mysterious artist, and everybody adopted that because that was like the thing. But now with Instagram, you're gonna lose. I had a friend who just got signed to a major record label, and they were having discussions about that, and they were saying that they struggle because newer artists want to stay anonymous, and they'll come in there and be like, no, you're gonna make a fucking selfie video on Instagram, and you're gonna talk to your audience and get people to actually know you. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right. So I don't know.
Low battery, dude.
Low battery? Oh shit, 20? No, we're good. 20% is fine. If this one dies, I'll send them all over to the but yeah, guys, so I guess we can get rolling on the questions here. We got some saucy questions.
Let's do it.
El Rey wants to know, what aspect is more important, creativity or technical stuff?
I think as a producer, right, definitely, I mean, you got to have the creative part down. And I'm not saying you have to know like how to play music and be trained in music theory, but you just have to have good music, period. I think it's important for producers to develop their ear and learn how to mix their own beats at least. But as far as like mixing down entire records with vocals, I leave that to the engineers. That's their job. So I would say probably 75% like creative, and then the other 25%, just like know what sounds good, from a technical aspect.
See, I like that you answered that, because now I'm going to give my answer. Which, by the way, we're probably going to disagree on some random shit / agree, but it's funny because you're completely right when it comes from your world, like the hip hop production world and like selling beats and stuff, because that makes complete sense, because a lot of times they got engineers on their side helping. And it's just funny how it kind of depends on the genre. So if that's the kind of thing you're doing, I think that's perfect. A lot of the EDM type stuff, you're like, there is no guy you're passing off to. You're like direct from you, usually straight to the SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube channel. There's no middleman in between. So essentially you're going to have to kind of put on multiple hats. And one thing I would suggest is really about finding a balance is that they kind of go hand in hand. Okay. So think about your, the quality of your songs. There's like a ceiling to it. So if you're only this good technically, right? Let's say you're only a 1 out of 10 technically, essentially you can be a certain amount of creative, but then there's a certain point to where even if you have good ideas, you won't be able to execute on them. So you have to level up. You have to get better plugins. You have to, learn more about sound design, mixing, learn more about different tricks in your DAW. Let's say you level up that technical skill. What it does is it opens up the room and raises the ceiling for your creative side. You know what I'm saying? And then they're able to take it a bit further. And then all of a sudden they'll hit another wall where it's like, well, the more technical stuff you learn, essentially, in my opinion, it just gives you more freedom on the creative side. And they almost kind of go hand in hand.
I guess it is, there are those differences between EDM and hip hop, because, I've heard stories from engineers, like good engineer homies of mine, of like top-notch producers, hip-hop producers, sending them track outs to their beats, but like the mix downs just sounded like fucking garbage. Mm-hmm. But they're sending them to the engineers to like polish it, get it all mixed and everything. I don't know how often that happens in the EDM world. I feel like EDM, you have to have a really firm grasp on just the technical know-how to even lay any ideas down, because y'all are like playing with, it's just different soundscapes that we're playing with, but I think just having a good ear is important.
Ranks Official wants to know, how do you deal with labels constantly rejecting your music?
I would say fuck the labels. Like literally, we're in an era of like every single social media you can run on your own. Like Spotify, you can do direct to Spotify uploads now. SoundCloud, you can go straight to SoundCloud. The different YouTubers running YouTube channels and you want to get your music featured on that, you can literally just go to them. You want to sell beats, you go straight to the person. You can learn internet marketing from literally just Googling things like how to build a website or how to do Facebook marketing, how to build a YouTube channel. Like we're in the era of you can do it yourself, and you're starting to see this across every single industry of people literally just doing it themselves. You have plenty of tools. Like what is the label really offering? Like all those times you got rejected by the labels, I would have invested in going hand-to-hand combat, guerrilla marketing, and learning everything you can to build your own following without the label. Like if me and Drew would have waited for, I don't know, some sample pack company or somebody else to help us out, like, dude, we would have been fucked, man. We just kept going ourselves. And even now, me and Drew are releasing music, and we have a lot of plans to do that, especially in 2019. We have no plans for a label, because why let somebody else in on it? You know what I'm saying? There has to be a good value prop. And for us, we know that you've built good relationships with the YouTubers. We know how to drive traffic. We own our own traffic, email list, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. What do you need the label for? And if I was at zero, I would do the same thing. Yeah.
No, I'll agree with that. To a certain extent, fuck the labels, but I think just dealing with rejection as a whole, because I feel like that question came from, like, how do you deal with rejection as a whole? And I think if you don't handle rejection well, then the music industry is going to be really, really tough for you. So I welcome rejection, because it feels that much better when you get the yes or when you get the win. So you just got to learn to deal with it. But I think in terms specifically with like labels, I think it depends on what stage you're at in your career. I definitely, if you have an established fan base and you feel like you've kind of hit a ceiling independently and you need that big machine behind you who can bring a lot to the table for you, whether that's through the money or the marketing or just the connections, I think it might make sense. But, you know, as someone like coming up who is building something really, really strong independently, probably doesn't make sense to bring a label into the situation. So I think it just depends on what level you're at.
Well, also, so what's your thoughts on, in that same situation, I would even think, I'm not sure about this person exactly. What was his name, Sam?
Ranks.
Ranks. All right. So I'm not sure what Ranks' situation actually is, but I would even say that sometimes even building your own social media, getting your own traction will even help with the label side if that's what you wanted to do long term. I might take this out of the shot.
But here's the thing, like, I'll give you a perfect example, right? A lot of artists I know don't know how to manage their own careers. They're not good at social media. They're not good at just like understanding how to manage their own careers. So, example, right? When I started working with an artist named Jaron Benton, we ended up signing to an independent label called Funk Volume. And just because of that whole situation, single-handedly basically birthed his career, you know? It exposed him to a huge fan base. It exposed him to a huge audience. He got on the XXL freshman cover. Like, he got so many good looks. You know, they obviously put the marketing push behind him. They put a budget behind his projects. Like, everything was so organized, and they were very hands-on with his career. And that really, really contributed to him even being able to have a career in music. Without that situation, I don't know that would have happened for him.
Oh, yeah. And honestly, a lot of it's probably also like, what's the value prop? You know what I'm saying? Because I know some people try to gouge you. Like, I've heard horror stories of like labels, like,
for
literally,
sure, 100%.
Honestly, even putting a lot of cash in front of somebody's face, like I think it was like a signing deal, you know, they'll get an advance, but then that advance, I swear sometimes it's a trap. It is essentially like, hey, sign this, you'll get the advance, and then all of a sudden you realize, like, wait a minute, like, you know what I'm saying?
I think, you know, at the end of the day, whichever way you go, it's important for an artist to understand the business. Because if you don't understand the business, then you're probably going to get fucked at some point.
100%. Do you think that there's a lot of artists that think they can make it without the business side and then just focus on the studio? Because I see that a lot personally, where the people are just like, no, I'm just going to make music, and if the music's good, everything else will come. I'm like, well,
I think most artists think that. Like, I'm sure everyone on Instagram right now probably thinks like, yeah, if the music is good, like, I'll get discovered and my career will take off. But I don't know that that's ever happened, to be honest. No matter like what your perception is and like how you might have seen someone's career take off, like, there's just so much that goes on behind the scenes that people don't see.
Yeah. You know? I mean, I would even say like luck is something that's more manufactured. If you start doing a lot of shit, you're gonna get a lot luckier.
I agree.
And it's easy to, like, the problem is that social media or like the internet has like tricked a lot of people, because if you see something pop off, right? Like, for example, we just did something with Trap City. We did a remix contest, you know, and if you look at it from the face side, like, oh, they just hit up Trap City and offered, you know, a couple prizes. I'm like, dude, it's not even signed. I've been talking to Gabriel for 3 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We have another big collab come with the artist. I've been friends with the manager. I can't say who, but I've been friends with the manager for over 3 years, just chatting, shooting the shit, and developing a relationship. But then, like, so sometimes like an artist will get a big feature, and then all of a sudden, like, somebody thinks like, wow, if I make this type of song and I make this type of artwork, I can get featured on that channel. I'm like, dude, they've been buddies since 6th grade. What about that factor that you're not seeing? What about the fact that the manager's been in the game now for 10 years, you know?
There's a lot of variables that social media doesn't show you. And so I think that's why it's misleading. Like, people think that things just happen out of the blue, or, you know, that it just happens out of luck or chance. But, you know, there's relationships, there's just so many different variables that go on behind the scenes that you just can't trust social media sometimes.
Aslo wants to know, if you are just getting started with production, how long should you practice until you start releasing your content?
I think you should start posting right away. The sooner, the better, because here's the thing, like, the same, just like with music, right? It takes a certain amount of practice and a certain amount of years to get to a certain level with your music where it sounds good. It's the same with like content creation, because you're not just going to start putting out content for the first time tomorrow and it's going to start performing really well and getting all these views. Like all this shit takes time. So the sooner you start it and learn it, the better it is, in my opinion.
Yeah. And I would say, like, in the early days, it's actually important to post, but it doesn't even have to be your project per se or your content or anything like that. I would even say that, like, having something like a little side music production page where you're just honestly getting really good at curating content. I'm talking about posting great content. You see Kato put an awesome video, you post on your page for inspiration for other producers or whatever version of that you want to do, because you have to learn the game. But then you don't always have to be a content creator, because there's so much creation out there these days that content curation can get you huge.
Yeah.
I mean, look at the news, CNN, they just curate stories from all over the place, right? And if you're in that early phase, I mean, that would be a big suggestion, is you need to practice and build up that social media muscle. But, you know, maybe it's not your production. Maybe you're going to start a inspiration for EDM producers page. Maybe you're going to start a fascinating stories in the hip hop world Instagram page where you're just doing more like coverage and sharing other videos and stuff. You need to practice the game, but it doesn't always have to be your content per se.
Now, let me ask you, if you're not good at curating or creating content, do you think there's a space that someone who just makes music can survive in the music industry?
That just doesn't do anything else?
Yeah.
Like content wise?
Yeah.
You would have to go hard behind the scenes relationship and make your money behind the scenes. Like because I know people like that. Like I know like one of the guys like Andre's talking about works with Skrillex as mixing engineer, like does shit like that. I know a bunch of people who, I mean, even working for us, like they don't put out any content, you know, but obviously they got a leg in. If you want to go that route, in my opinion, I'm guessing you're probably going to be one to work on the tracks behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
Like probably relationship based. And if that's the case, you're not putting out content, I would be DMing, emailing people nonstop, trying to just meet people and provide free value and take that. I think you can do it for sure.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I would sign a producer who just makes like really dope music, but isn't really good at anything else. I think that makes the most sense, is to like partner with someone or sign with someone or work with someone that has the skills that you lack. Mm-hmm. So it's like essentially just building a team, right? But
you know what scares me though? The people who aren't willing to post, it's usually a mindset issue more than it is they're not good at it.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's like, wait, you're not trying. You haven't posted 100, because everybody's going to suck. So then it comes to the point of like, is it really that they suck, or are they just being hard-headed, which I can't even tell you how many people I know that are hard-headed in the music space, that I don't want to do that.
But regardless, it's like whether you're hard-headed or you just aren't good at it, if you don't like it, like if that's not your thing, then you're probably never going to get good at it, right?
And that person can also go for, like what you said, like a partnership. Like, why not go for the partner?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Andre, for example, Andre Cymatics here, the guy who's working behind the scenes for us, he's an incredible producer, and he found his groove. He's managing like 40-something producers on our team, and you guys don't hear a word about him. But he was going in, you know what I'm saying? So I think there's definitely good opportunities, especially with these days, to even partner with that voice, you know what I'm saying? Or find something that does work, because you don't have to be the face of it, but I think your brand has to have some element to it of personality and stuff like that. And I think the partner up, I think that thing's fire.
For sure, yeah.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you should also be following us on Instagram, because we got saucy giveaways going on. And essentially whoever's question gets asked over there is going to win. So we'll give you guys a couple seconds to go over to his live stream.
Isn't that Kato?
That is Kato.
That is Kato.
Yeah, so go.
This dude.
Yeah. I'm Kato.
I'm Steven from Cymatics. What's up, y'all?
Kato producer.
That was Rex, my homie Rex.
You want to give him an what his thing is, so we can make sure?
So at Rex Nendo, shout out to Rex. Rex asks, how do I get my publishing? Let me set this up. So publishing is a very, very complicated topic, but I had the opportunity to talk a lot about this on the MEC tour, which we just wrapped up. basically publishing is like the idea of like monetizing or exploiting your music, right? The idea of your music. So, you know, basically getting paid off of the idea of your music. And the way you collect your publishing essentially is like you being your own independent record label. So if you're an independent artist, I would say there are 3 or 4 things that you need to do in order to collect all of your publishing royalties. Number 1 is, if you're not signed to a label, use a digital distributor like CD Baby, TuneCore. I personally like DistroKid. So distribute your music through one of those platforms, get it all on streaming, iTunes, all that. Second thing you need to do is sign up with a pub admin like Songtrust. Songtrust basically collects global royalties. So they partner with PROs, which are performance rights organizations around the world. In the US, they're ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC, right? Those are the 3 main PROs. So they partner with PROs around the world to collect both performance and mechanical royalties. Third thing you need to do is sign up with a PRO. So if you're in the US, that's BMI, ASCAP, or CSAC. If you're not signed up with a PRO at all, if you sign up with Songtrust for your pub admin, they'll automatically get you affiliated with one of those 3. And then the last thing you need to do if you're an artist is sign up with Sound Exchange, and they'll basically collect the non-interactive streaming royalties from like Pandora, internet radio, any non-interactive streaming services they collect royalties from on the master side. So I know if you know nothing about publishing, that sounded really confusing, but take my word for it. If you sign up with those 3 or 4 collection agencies, then you'll collect 98, if not 100% of all the royalties that are owed to you.
Wait, so real quick, what is, because I know a lot of people listening need to hear this stuff because it's like completely left field, especially for a lot of the bedroom producer guys. What's like step number 1 for them to like, okay, after they're watching this, they need to kind of go deeper and learn more about this stuff? What's like the first step you'd say? You
know, publishing is a really complicated subject, and it's very antiquated. So a lot of the terms themselves are just super confusing. So I would recommend, you get the information firsthand from someone that knows, so hit up someone, hit up me, like hit me up on Instagram, or, join Music Entrepreneur Club, reach out to Songtrust, like ask them questions, like ask people who know about the subject. Because there's a lot of information on the internet, and the problem is you don't know like what you can trust.
Some of it can be wrong.
A lot of it can be wrong.
I can't tell you how many times like my family members will try to prove a point to me by Googling it, right? I mean, it's a very common thing. Like,
and they go on Wikipedia.
Be like, look at this. You know what I'm saying? This is the truth right here. It's the first article on Google. I'm like, I know SEO better than anybody, and I know how to rank number 1 on Google for a lot of different terms because Cymatics does, because I spent a lot of time learning Google search optimization. That shit it's a game. It's not number 1. Like Google doesn't put stuff that's true. It puts stuff that has, the highest page view time, the lowest bounce rate, the best click-through title. And like, there's all these things. And I feel like music industry definitely falls in that category, especially because a lot of the bloggers, they're just random people that are freelance bloggers writing whatever. And the check process isn't necessarily perfect on all those music blogs even.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, anyone can post anything about anything on the internet. So you just Googling the answers, you might find the right answer that way, but you could find the wrong information that way.
You could find some memes.
Yeah.
And then you're toast.
Exactly. So, ask someone that's trustworthy, that's in the industry, that clearly knows. Rex.
Yo, a message the Cymatics FM page about your contest winner, or we'll reach out if you can remember his name. But we can look back, obviously. We have the fucking tapes. But we'll get this thing sent to you. We just need your address and whatnot.
Hey.
Bet. All right. Sweet. So, how's it feel to be the first guest? Are we recording?
Yeah. Okay.
So how does it feel to be the first guest on Ask Cymatics?
I'm humbled and honored.
We're gonna have
Deeply humbled.
Diplo, Skrillex, Marshmello take off his helmet on the podcast. All that stuff's happening in the future, and it all started with Kato. You're going to be the godfather of this podcast.
Of Cymatics podcast.
Cymatics now owes 10% to you for life of any earnings from this podcast.
I'm collecting my royalties, baby.
He's going to get that TuneCore on us. So with those all publishing companies, he's already got. That's why he's filming this for evidence.
That's right.
He's going to get us back later.
I'm getting all my royalties. I'm getting all 50% of it.
He's like, bitch, I saw you use that in that Instagram, but you better shouted me out. Anyways, thanks for coming on the show. I think a lot of people need to hear this. We're probably definitely going to have you back. We do live 20 minutes from each other.
40, but
40.
Yeah.
We go to Atlanta all the time. I got some fire food spots we can go hit up. Also, I just want to let everybody know, if you want to come chill with the Cymatics squad, Kato's going to be there hopefully, yes?
I'm pulling up in my Lambo.
He's pulling up in his Lambo. That would be sweet if you did have the Lambo.
I know. I'm going to rent one just for the day.
Pulling up in my broken Tesla because I did smash that motherfucker. Anyways, we have an event, a music industry networking event that's actually going down on April 24th. So I want to let everybody know to make sure and get that. Tickets are selling out quick. The venue only holds 200. This was kind of like a little private thing we wanted to do. So if you guys want to come check that out, I highly suggest grabbing a ticket. If you go to Steven Cymatics or go to the link in my bio, you can go check that out. It's going to be a sweet event. And inviting a lot of industry friends like Kato to come out here just to honestly meet people. I mean, it's a brewery. We're going to be hanging out, having some fun. Might do some live giveaways or some cool shit.
Free shots on Steven all night.
I mean, the beers are like $1 at the brewery, so I'm down. If anybody needs a beer, I got them. But yeah, I'm super excited just to do something like that in Atlanta. It's really exciting. There's a lot of producers here. So if you guys are from Atlanta, $17 a ticket, 100% worth it to scrounge that $17 and get your ass down there. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. Other than that, hope you guys enjoyed the show. And should we do, you want to give a plug here to whatever you want to plug?
Yeah. I guess just hit me with that follow on Instagram, Twitter. And no one really uses Facebook anymore.
He's going for that Instagram clout first.
Let's do, So at Kato Producer, at KATO Producer. Hit me up, DM me, drop me a comment, all that.
Oh, you want to tell them real quick about the Music Entrepreneur Club?
Yeah, also follow Music Entrepreneur Club on Instagram. We drop a lot of like music industry gems. We're basically a music industry and networking platform for upcoming artists, producers, basically anyone that's looking to get into the music industry. So it's a membership program, but obviously our Instagram content is free. We drop a lot of good information there, so follow us.
Sweet. You heard the man. Go check it out. Anyways, thanks for joining into the show. And if you guys want to get your questions answered next time, just drop a question below. Peace.